Hitting record. All right. Welcome to another Lexington Learns. This time it's with Craft Food Hall, the founder, Doug Ferriman, and Gardy Desrouleaux, one of the managing partners. They just opened Revolution Hall in Lexington a couple of weeks ago, and I got to be there for the ribbon cutting ceremony, which was awesome. My husband's still talking about your pour your own beer wall. Loved it. And so we're going to talk today about how you guys kind of came up with this concept and how you ended up in Lexington, as well as what you've seen over the last couple of weeks now that you've been open. So welcome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Well, you know, Lexington is very, very happy to have you. I have to say, I said just before I hit record, I said that I've heard nothing but positive feedback from everybody who's gone. And I know lots of people who have been multiple times. It's already kind of a hotspot hangout. So I think that is something that's been missing from Lexington. So congratulations on that. And I will just put in a plug because we also were just talking about your ramen. And I think that we're going to definitely need to get over there and check out the ramen because it sounds like a nice warm dish for these windy. It's so windy today. It's insane. So anyway, so Doug, as the founder, can you tell me more? Well, tell us more about kind of the evolution of Craft Food Hall and how you came up with this, because I know, as much as I've said, many people have gone multiple times. There are still people who haven't heard of the concept too.
Yeah, so I mean, Craft Food Hall Project was kind of born out of identifying kind of a niche in the restaurant category where we could offer maximum differentiation in a very efficient footprint. So we kind of go by different mantras, and we have many mantras that we follow and that Gardy and I and Melissa create. And one of them is kind of restless innovation. Our minds are constantly kind of restlessly thinking about what's the next big idea. How do we make the best pizza crust in the world? And it's that kind of restless innovation mindset that kind of led us to kind of disrupt this category of, little kind of smaller food halls in, not on main streets. They're kind of in office parks and kind of not locations you typically find kind of a premium fast casual food hall. Right. So we kind of found this market where developers had these properties and they were kind of starving for new ideas. And we launched one up in Lowell and it was a smashing success. And that developer said, hey, I've got a property in Waltham, which then led to meeting RJ Kelly in Lexington. Yeah. And, the goal is to kind of provide the community as well as the surrounding buildings with what I call differentiated deliciousness. It's one of our many mantras and kind of slogans. We kind of make up as many words as we can and many techniques as we can, but differentiated deliciousness kind of sums up the different concepts. The vessel concept, which is ancient meets cutting edge functional nutrition, the ancient Ayurveda. I always pronounce it wrong, but that's all about bringing old to new and making it delicious, and if we can weave in 30 different supplements that are ancient and new into a taco that you don't even know about, then that's exciting. That's differentiated, and you might have tried the pizza crust, that's different. We developed our own techniques for that. So it comes out of a passion for customer.
By the way, as you go along, are you patenting some of these procedures?
No, I mean, we just keep them in-house. The pizza procedures, it's ever evolving. And when you patent something, you have to make it public. So yeah, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi have never patented their recipes. Yeah. So it's kind of a trade secret. And but the formulation of that dough, it's so driven by ancient, again, like old world kind of pre-war Neapolitan techniques with, cutting edge grain science. So I could geek out all day long about dough and Ayurvedic herbs, but you'd get bored. But, there's a strong passion for kind of making, old ideas new again, but then throwing in a major twist,
Yeah. Well, and the important thing is, I mean, you said you can geek out on this all day, and I believe that. But it's also about making it taste good, right? I mean, it doesn't, you could be using, the coolest, oldest recipe found in a cave, like, from 4,000 years ago. But if it doesn't taste good, people aren't going to buy it. And I know that you guys have a passion for making it taste great. I mean, in some ways, I think you're catering to both the crowd that really wants to know exactly what ingredients are in something, and they want to know, the breakdown of their macronutrients and things like that. But you're also just catering to people who, I don't really care what's in it. I just know that it tastes good. That would be me, by the way. That's me.
And you just nailed it on the head. It's because if you took like the cauliflower vessel taco, I mean, the breading has 3 adaptogenic herbs in it. Yeah, and you don't care, and you're not even going to notice that, but it tastes good. And that's the key. It's got to be delicious. It's got to be craveable. And then if we can layer in, all these nutrients and all these phytonutrients and micronutrients into these ingredients, and you don't even know, then that, to me, that's what I want to hear. I'm like, wow, all this stuff's in there and it's delicious. I wouldn't even know it,
And I know that the menu rotates, but I have to say so at the ribbon cutting, I tried the short rib tacos, and those are very craveable. I am craving those. So let's not let those rotate off for too long. If they rotate off, that's would be my opinion. So how did you, I mean, you mentioned Lexington kind of came through the developers, but what made Lexington feel like a good fit?
Oh, easily. I mean, the community, I love the community, and I live in Waltham, and I spend some time in Lexington, have some friends there. The community's phenomenal. The town of Lexington, the whole administration was the best that we've ever worked with, first of all. And Gardy and I have opened restaurants in multiple cities and towns, but they were the most welcoming. And it really started with that. It started with that impression from them. They were like, hey, when they heard about the idea, they were like, okay, this is great. And they were welcoming ever since, and they really facilitated a lot of it, where other cities have been a challenge,
Sure.
Just because it's a bureaucracy and it's, it poses its challenges. But Lexington, the community and the administrators have been phenomenal. And we felt this could, elevate Lexington's dining scene and make it more fun and casual and like user friendly. We had bands the first 2 Fridays, and people would come up to us and say, I can't believe there's a band in Lexington. Yeah. And I'm like, I didn't realize it was that, much in demand. I guess we'll have more bands.
Now, I will have to know that the chamber sponsors concerts in the summer when we're allowed to do outdoor events like that. But you're right, there isn't a lot of live entertainment going on, especially right now. I mean, this is a really difficult time. And in fact, how do you open a restaurant? I'll ask either one of you. How do you open a restaurant in the middle of everything that's going on right now?
Gardy can answer that one.
It's amazing. So Doug is right. We've been going through this, and to be able to pick a word that fits, sometimes you got to make it up. But in this particular case, Doug always talked about escapism, and that's how we're able to do it. Is with everything that's going on, we take the proper precautions. We make sure that all the systems are followed and all the precautions are understood by the team. But at the end of the day, we operate in love and consistency. And so we need people to come in and escape their lives and escape the CNN and the Fox News and CNBC and everything like that. They come in, they see, okay, this environment is not only welcoming, but safe. Yeah. And that's how we do it. And thankfully, the Lexington community has accepted us with open arms.
So you're saying tomorrow night, if I want to avoid election stuff, I could come in and just chill out. You're not going to have the TVs like 24/7 coverage of the election breakdown and all that?
No, we will not. So our policy indoors is at 3 p.m. all news stops, and you'll get ESPN or anything like that. And that's always been our internal way of doing things, because again, the escapism is important. Yeah. If you turn on the news now, all you're getting is difficulties.
So what kind of feedback have you heard in the first couple of weeks of being open? How are people taking to it so far?
Like I said, it's been a blessing from the Lexington community. Right now, people are pleasantly surprised about how hands off it is. You know, we had to pivot hardcore. You know, Doug, Melissa, and I, we sat down and talked about, okay, well, the business plan has to change a little bit considering, you know, everything that's going on. And really quickly, we were able to pivot off of a touchless approach. So the QR codes and people not having to come to interact with the cashier, people being able to really have their own driven experience. The cool thing when I first came with craft food halls, Doug talked about impressions all of the time. You know, we didn't have a greeter, we had an impressionist. And these types of things, they make a huge difference in the company's culture. And guests feel it. The moment they walk in, they look left, they look right, and they're like, I get it, you know?
That's awesome. Have you had to change anything from day one to day, what are you on, day 15, 18?
Yeah, around there. Yeah, we're on, yes, day 15, yes. No, I mean, really subtle things, you know, understanding the way that the space actually works. You know, you build something and it's on paper for a little bit and you're like, I got this. And then it opens, you're like, I don't got this.
Yeah. Well, there are those flow things that you can't really fathom until people are in the space. I get that.
Yeah, it's just minor things. Nothing, I mean, the entire vision was really well instituted with by Doug and Melissa and myself. And it's been working great.
So by the way, so this is, I think, maybe the third time that Melissa's been mentioned. So I want to make sure that we say Melissa Ferriman is the third part of this trio here. She is Doug's wife, right? And has been part of this venture the whole way through.
Correct. Yeah. She's a lot behind the scenes, a lot kind of keeping everything glued together. You know, she's the gorilla glue of the group. You know,
that was the best analogy because there's so many things going on.
Yeah.
And you know, yes, they see my face, they see Doug's face a lot as well, but really a lot of these things are happening because of the strength that Melissa Ferriman brings. And again, the gorilla glue concept is perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell me more, because I know that you have a different approach to hospitality than a lot of restaurants and well, the hospitality industry does. So tell me kind of about your background, Gardy, as well as, you know, how that's informed what you do with your staff and your approach.
So I want to work a little bit backwards. So when I met Doug, I walked into the room and his aura was so large and so welcoming and so positive. It kind of reinforced everything that I thought, you know, a company should be. So it starts with that. It started with, we are very much in line with treating people accordingly, giving them the tools for them to create their own destiny and their own path. And really knowledge is what's going to do that. So the way that we approach this is we have an open book concept, which means that financially, everyone can know how well we're doing and how each one of their decisions impacts our bottom line. And so by being able to be transparent that way, gives them really the power they need to be successful within the four walls. But on top of that, we're talking about financials in the totality. What does your life look like? You know, so the systems here that we're using should be also applicable to your life. You should be able to balance your checkbook as well as balancing ours. You know, and so that's the biggest thing, is that we infuse them with the knowledge that is necessary for them to be successful. And then there's so much latitude as well. You know, Doug and Melissa have dreamt up something magical, but they've also allowed so much latitude to be able to make the proper decisions on a day-to-day basis, not being afraid to make a small mistake because anybody can adjust that. And that's another big part of our culture. But my background, I was blessed to be working with, you know, top tier companies. This is my first quote unquote startup, you know. I've worked with a massive restaurant group, locally, you know, Night Shift Brewing and companies like that, opening their locations and really just walking through ground floor all the way up to seeing, you know, 200, 300 units actually in operation. And so that really solidified the operational knowledge. But then meeting extraordinary mentors, you know, throughout the way that have just infused and said, look, you are in the hospitality industry, but it's not supposed to be this way. you know, a lot of hospitality team members are either broken or they've been taken advantage of and not been taken care of. And that was kind of imbued upon me a long time ago. And meeting, the Ferrimans, it became really, really apparent how we wanted to institute this type of thought process.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you've got love at the center of everything. What's that mean in kind of day-to-day practice with your staff?
Really, it's a lot simpler than people make it out to be. Say hello to everyone when they walk in. Ask everybody how they're doing. Legitimately ask it. In our culture, we say how you doing as a salutation, but we really don't want to hear it. But in our house, we really want to hear it. We want to know how you are, so we know how you're going to be. And really taking care of the overall thought process of full-time versus part-time team member. It weighs heavily on our heart when we talk about the way that the world is currently, because it makes the job market volatile.
Yeah.
And so, being open and honest with everyone and talking things through about how we're doing today and how we're going to do tomorrow based on what's being handed to us now. We run a full-time crew, which is part of the concept as well. We know that we can, give very minimum wage. Honestly, we can give minimum wage. We can work off of a TIF basis, but we haven't decided to do that because we want to make sure that everybody is treated appropriately and that the quality of the team member is here as well for each and every guest, right? And so when we have a full-time crew, it means that the people come in, the guests come in and recognize the same people and have a relationship with the same people. And then the team member takes absolute care of not only the guests, but of the company as well. So it makes us a little bit different.
Well, you invest in the people who work for you and they can invest in the company then. They know that you're there for them. So why wouldn't they be there for you too?
Precisely.
Yeah, they're helping share that vision. So what comes next? You're on day 15. So what are you doing day 16? What else is new?
On the short term,
innovation. So
yes.
On the short term, we're excited to invest in Lexington. So this is one phase. The second phase is now introducing brunch. Third phase will be introducing desserts and things like that, and making it exciting and listening to what the Lexington community actually wants. Doug can answer on the long term, in terms of how we want to kind of grow overall.
All right, you're back on the spot, Doug.
Yeah, no, well said on all points there, Gardy. The short-term restless innovation, as he said, is brunch, it's desserts, it's working on new, longer kind of sous vide steaks, just some kind of crazy stuff. We call them L quads. We have a category that we're going to launch in Lexington called L quads, which means limited quantity of deliciousness. So okay. We'll have, on a Friday night, we might have like these, crazy pork shanks or ribeyes, and we might only do 4 of them that we sous vide for 6 or 8 hours. We'd love to get into people pre-ordering them. So then we could say, okay, we're already sold out at 5 o'clock on Friday night, and then make an event out of it. When they come in, we might buy them a special beer that pairs with it or something like that. But, creating more of a, culinary like escapism is what Gardy mentioned. It's like, come in, wow, I get this crazy double thick ribeye and I'm going to share it with my wife or my husband, and we're going to have this kind of cool, little focused experience. But long term, it's about consistently making impressions and growing in Lexington and getting more people to learn about us and enjoy the space. And ultimately we want them to be in control of their experience there. They can come in, they can order, they could pour their own beer and wine, they could play, they could listen. So just kind of grow that vibe and see where it takes us.
You do have a very cool vibe. I can attest to that. I mean, that when you walk in the space and I have to imagine that even on a day like today, you probably have the garage doors rolled down and it's a little bit less open than it was when I was there, but it's so open and airy. but it feels very comfortable. It doesn't feel sterile. It doesn't feel austere. It feels like you're there to hang out. And I know you've got the game tables, you've got TVs, you've got the beer wall. I can't say that enough. And you've got great seating spaces to kind of hang out and feel comfortable. The escapism, I mean, people want to escape, but not entirely escape, right? They want to be with their friends. They want to be with their family. They want to feel comfortable, not necessarily exotic. So they have, you can get out of your house, but come to have this really warm, comfortable, familiar feeling experience.
Can you write that down?
This
I'll
is
make a press
recorded, so
release
this is
for you.
perfect. That was well said. I was trying to write it down, but then I realized it was just recorded. So
That's true. It's recorded. It's there for posterity. How soon are we getting brunch?
Target date is November 20th.
Oh my gosh, really soon. Oh, that's exciting.
You will definitely know through social media, and obviously you'll know firsthand because we're now best friends.
That's right. That's right. Revolution Hall, come talk to me. I'll let you know. That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk with me. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. I think that this is something, as I said, it's been missing in Lexington. It's very exciting. And I know I'm personally very glad to have you here.
Thank you, Erin.
thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor.
Thank you so much.